I was in such a state, I was unrealistic and just out of it.
I would just get angry, frustrated, and just give up.
I used to just talk and, you know, not, I would go off on tangents and not stay on the subject.
Drugs and mental illness, it doesn't mix.
A lot of yelling and screaming, a lot of demanding and acting out, which really complicated my life.
The more they understand their illness and understand that by understanding it, they can be in the driver's seat more. They're not at the mercy of their impairments. They're not at the mercy of their difficulties.
A year ago, I did not realize the first rules of being well, and taking your medication, getting plenty of sleep, you know, eating right. All that was pretty erratic, and that also mirrored my behavior. I mean, it was survival, and I was very, very engrossed in the voices. I couldn't shut them off. I was very shaken and very upset by them all the time. And then being told that this is as good as it's going to get, I'm here to tell you it can get better. I began to realize that the more we studied and the more handouts we got and the more exercises we did, I thought, hey, you know, this is what schizophrenia is, and this is what I can do about it. It's given me a sense of my own responsibility and everything. What I can do from this end to improve my life.
I think you could take all of the people that are in CET right now and just say, we said to them, okay, this is as good as it gets, let's put the lid on, and you just say stable and stay out of trouble, and you don't get in our way, we won't get in your way. And now we're saying, no, open that lid, you can do anything you want. Anything is possible.
It helped me out a lot to understand my mental illness. I'm more improved on, you know, doing things for myself and being more motivated about my mental illness. There's some situations that I don't really, you know, take anymore because my mental illness is more important.
It's going to be different for each person. For one person, that raising their hand and speaking in a group could be the most significant thing they've done in a long time.
He just had these very strong negative symptoms, like just no facial expression, very flat affect. Just seemed like he wasn't tuned in to what was going on around him. But as the year progressed, it was almost like he started to wake up. You know, they might be small steps, but again, very significant for someone like Darnell. He might not verbalize how his quality of life has improved, but just to be able to see him smiling and to laugh, I imagine that it has improved.
I feel some more sense of confidence in trying to communicate and interact with people. I think I connect easier with people now.
Conversation with Gretchen stays on point without drifting. Her attention span and being involved in what you're saying and staying where you are, where I am in conversation, has been vastly improved.
My friends and family and people that I needed to communicate with, I think it helped them tolerate me more, or they listen better because I'm not all over the place talking.
It is really neat now for both of us to just be friends like people can be friends.
It's been really fascinating to see these people just open up and, you know, really benefit from this group, and that enthusiasm that they have for it really helps me as a coach stay enthusiastic. I find myself dipping into the concepts that we use and incorporating that into my other clinical responsibilities.
CET is like physical therapy for the brain. They would get to exercise the brain in ways that make the person able to understand how society functions and how they get along with other people, how the workplace functions, what their role in society is to do.
Before CET, with the positive symptoms of the schizophrenia, like hearing voices, voices used to be real bad before CET, and now I don't hardly hear them at all, which is good. Because I'm able to stop and distract myself and say, hey, these aren't real, just don't pay any attention to them, and go about my everyday life. Now I'm more open to suggestion and learn how to apply it to my everyday life and without getting upset and angry.
He does a lot more things independently. He rarely says, I'm bored and I can't think of anything to do. I'll come over to his house for something. He'll be on the phone talking to friends and making plans. It is a trend. I'm anxious to see where it goes.
I see definitely big improvement. Overall life, I'm a lot happier, and I can understand people a lot better, and understand my father a lot better and where he's coming from.
I think he's thinking about things that he didn't think about before, and I think it has to be that he's challenging himself a little more than he used to. And I think that challenge may have started in the CET because I think it was a series of challenges to develop better skills at solving problems and thinking things through.
They want to do the same thing day in, day out. They can get very rigid about that. So when there is a stressor that comes into their life, they're not able to handle that stress. But through CET, it increases their capacity to handle stressors, because that's what happens. Life is full of stressors. It's unpredictable. And the more that we can increase that capacity to do that, the more our clients can be successful in the long term.
Unfortunately, your symptoms don't go away, but the knowledge of your symptoms can cause you to maybe greater anxiety on the front end, but in the long term, now you understand your process, your thinking processes, how your limbic system and your frontal cortex work together, so that your processing speed of correcting those or using coping skills, or what coping skills to use, will improve. And I think that's where I'm seeing results.
Everything I learned in CET just became a part of me. I think more than anything, it helped me to stay stable and not, go over the edge. I got to feeling scared about going back to school. I didn't want this to happen again, because it was a horrible experience. I'm pretty positive that it's helped this what happened to me this year. I'm going back to school when I feel able.
We do know that for everybody, there's been a change. I've learned a lot. I've changed a lot. I think differently and do things differently because of CET. It's a contagious energy to see those changes, witness that, and then want to be a part of it. I have so much more hope now than ever before.
There's a sense of sustainability here that, in her treatments in the past, there were side effects, or it was difficult for her to maintain it on her own.
Now there's hope for me, and my medication didn't change. My relationships to other people didn't change until I started to apply some of the skills that I learned in CET. Role playing, perspective taking, empathy.
Prior to CET, I was a sounding board. If she needed to vent, she called and I was the sounding board. And now the relationship is much more two-way. She's a sounding board to me. I mean, it's much more reciprocal.
The greatest thing I got from CET is being able to relate to my family, my sister, especially my mom. It came in the nick of time. It gave me a lot of hope that there was a chance that I could have my life back, and I did, and it's amazing.